honored. I appreciate it. Before I get too fired up, I do want to introduce someone very important to me, my fiance, Angie Schneider, who's in the back there. We got engaged last month, so this is the second best thing to happen to me this year. And if we win this election, that'll still be the second best thing to happen to me. But I'm excited to take on this challenge. We decided to run for this office in September of last year, and we've been working hard ever since to make sure we get our message out to people in South Dakota. And something I've been saying since then, and I still truly believe, is that the people we're running against, they're not bad people. They're good folks. I know them all. I like them all. But the reason it's important we win this race is because essentially the same crowd has been running this office for the past 32 years. And it's time for some fresh energy and some fresh ideas. Ideas we have. Our next Secretary of State needs to use the information in the office to help encourage economic development in South Dakota. Something that's never been done before, but makes perfect sense. The first point of contact for every new business in South Dakota is the Secretary of State's office. They're the only person who knows where every business is. The world's changed. No longer, when somebody starts a business, do they automatically go down to Main Street and put up a storefront. Businesses are starting across South Dakota every day in kitchens and basements and workshops and online. And as Secretary of State, we will work with local chambers of commerce, Governor Heideprim's Office of Economic Development, to make certain that when a new business comes to South Dakota, that the local chamber knows there's a new business in their community, that the state knows there's a new business in their state, and more importantly, we'll work to make sure that a new business owner knows who their local and state contacts are. It's something that should have happened so long ago. When we're elected, we're going to make it happen. State who's going to hold out-of-state corporations responsible for the money they spend on electioning. The Supreme Court made a horrific decision on a 5-4 vote when they decided that corporations can spend any amount of money they want, any way they seem fit to try and influence the outcome of an election. This is a threat to the fundamentals of our democracy. Our Secretary of State needs to make certain that every South Dakotan knows, well before election, who is trying to influence their vote. When we're Secretary of State, we're going to make that happen. Our next Secretary of State needs to be concerned about ballot access for all South Dakotans. That means whether we're talking about a soldier serving abroad, whether we're talking about a student who is no longer living at home, whether we're talking about a rancher who lives in the most remote corners of South Dakota, and yes, whether we're talking about someone who lives on a reservation in a county without an auditor. Everybody should have the same access that those of us in Sioux Falls or Rapid City or Vermilion have, and when we're elected, we're going to make that happen. Very excited to take on this race. This is not an honor that I take lightly, or a responsibility that I take lightly. We've been working hard. Since the June primary, we've knocked on over 3,000 doors all across the state, targeted doors. We have met thousands and thousands of South Dakotans at their doorstep, at parades, at coffees, and we're going to continue to do that right up until Election Day. We will never miss an opportunity to get our message out in front of the voters. In fact, we're going to leave here as soon as we're done to go hit a couple of parades, because we will never miss an opportunity to get our message out in front of the voters. I'm so excited about this. I have a great crew of people working with me on this race, and some of them are here. I want to recognize them. Bill Mueller from Mitchell is here. He's a delegate. Taylor Wigner's here from Redfield. And William Nagamoy over here from Sioux Falls. And I want to tell you a little bit about William, because I think his story really epitomizes what this race and what this office is about. William was born in Juba, in a city in southern Sudan. And well, as he grew up, he didn't have a lot of faith in democracy. The elections he saw were largely rigged. They were just for show, just to keep the people in power in power. When William was 19, he had to flee his homeland, along with millions of other Sudanese, because of the civil war. And he went to Egypt for 4 years, where he applied for and eventually gained asylum in the United States. He came from Cairo straight to Sioux Falls, and he worked hard to establish a life for himself. And as he looked around his community and at his state, he decided this is something he wanted to be part of. So in 2002, in September, he became a citizen in this great country. And first time in his life he voted. And he saw the power of his vote. He saw that his voice counted, his vote counted the same as everybody else's. And he became a believer in the power of the vote. He became such a believer that last year he co-founded and is now president of an organization called Sioux Falls Votes. It's an organization that works with people and groups that are on the periphery of the political discussion, people who are usually ignored. And he works to educate them on the process of registering, on the process of voting, a process that can be intimidating if you're not used to it, if you've never done it before. And he does that because he wants others to know as well that in America, in South Dakota, their voices can be heard and their votes will be counted. And that's what this election is about. That is the fundamental principles of our democracy. That's why open and clean and fair elections are so important. That's why nobody should ever be denied access to a ballot because of where they live. That's why we're working hard to win this, and that's why I'm so proud to accept your nomination to be the next Secretary of State of South Dakota.